Warrior, here we go. I'm just going live because so much is breaking around us, different headlines that are being streamed. They're online, they're on your TV sets, they're on your computers. And then also at the Warriors, we have a lot going on. So, welcome. I'm going to try this. Let me see. Let's see if anybody's joining me. Can we have a 5x5? Because I didn't announce I was even doing this, and I've actually never done it this way before. So, I want to see if people people can hear me. Let me see. Now, why don't we have, why don't we have, Lionel Nation says 5x5. Now, do we get comments on this live? Do we get a chat?
Hit up here.
Hit here?
No, top. To live chat. Live chat.
Okay, there we go. Now, listen, I am, there's Mark. Mark, welcome. Where have you been hiding? But Mark can hear me loud and clear. And Gracie loves George. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things. So we at the Warriors have been following along these two headlines of Dirty Diddy, one Sean Combs that I want to continue talking about, and I'll tell you why that's important for us to follow and discuss a little bit. And then also Ghislaine Maxwell, and I'll tell you why that's important. But I want to start with as a New Yorker, okay? I am horrified today. I mean, this guy walking into this, office building yesterday. I'm sorry. If you're a New Yorker, if you're anybody, it is a building I walk past a lot. I also walk past the building where the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down. And the escalation, in my opinion, of this blatant, these crimes, they're heinous. Because remember, we're involved in so much on a daily basis with children and teens and people being exploited right here at the Warriors. And the crimes seem to me, I'm sorry, in the last 6 months, all crimes to be escalating. And people are angry. And to think, somebody will walk in with whatever that gun was he was carrying, because I'm not focused on that. You know what I'm focused on? I'm focused on this police officer trying to make a few extra bucks. His third child is due shortly. His wife had to be brought to the hospital in distress. His father took a stroke. The guy's just trying to make some extra money. Goes to work. And right now, as I'm speaking, he's being brought to a funeral home in the Bronx. And then, the poor innocent people who went to work yesterday at 345 Park. Another young mom with 2 kids. Another young woman. It is horrific and horrifying. And I don't want to hear the argument, well, you're in New York City. Why don't you leave? Why should I leave my city? This is the city I love. There is no city in the world like New York City. And I'm here for my city. I mean, after all, somebody has to be here and fight for it and, keep out the creeps. But let's get to Dirty Diddy. Now, you can also watch me tomorrow. I'll be on with Nancy Grace talking about this again, because now he and his lawyers are proposing that he put up $50 million that he can get out of the hellhole, and it is a hellhole where he is, the Brooklyn detention center, whatever that is. I don't focus on it because I know it's a hellhole. People have told me. And he wants to, I don't know, I think wear an ankle bracelet, as we call it, ankle monitor, and retreat to his estate, Star Island in Florida. Well, we hope that never happens. There should be no discussion about this. $50 million, right? His sentencing is for October 3rd. I was so thrilled when the judge would not grant him bail, to be honest with you, because he is, in my opinion, a sex trafficker. He is, in my opinion, a pimp, because we have to look at what sex trafficking is in a completely different way, because you know what? The public does not understand. People I work with who work on human trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, they don't even know. I'm convinced. I just got back from Washington a few days ago. As I was sitting there listening to a conference for several hours, I like to listen, take it in, see what people are saying before I open my mouth or, and it occurred to me like a light bulb, I kid you not, that people do not know what sex trafficking really is. And we have to look at it now. It is so kind of multifaceted, right? And the old definitions of what we thought it was do not hold. And I don't think organizations and nonprofits, definitely not the government, in my opinion, there is good work being done, right? But not enough and not fast enough, right? In my opinion, Sean Combs is a sex trafficker. He was responsible with others. I'd like to know about all these others that worked with him. His right hand woman, Christina Coram. I know she turned evidence or whatever you call that. Yeah, turning evidence in exchange for immunity. But I'm sorry. Where did this all lead? Because he was convicted of to engage in sex trafficking, the Mann Act, which is pretty much a light sentence compared to what sex trafficking, the sentence could be. I tell you why I think it's sex trafficking. Because force, fraud, coercion. And I know a lot of lawyers, most lawyers disagree with me. And today he's putting out through his lawyers, Dirty Diddy, the lawyers said, well, he's the only person who hired prostitutes that he didn't have sex with. He and his girlfriend participated and he watched, something to that effect. We're a family program, but you get the gist here of what I'm talking about. But if we talk about the definition of sex trafficking using that force, fraud, coercion, we clearly saw, if you go back to that video of Cassie being, beaten up, kicked, dragged in that hallway, right? That's force. She was also, along with his other most current girlfriend, the Jane Doe one. Her name was revealed eventually, but she met up with Dirty Diddy under false pretenses. That's fraud. So I'm saying this is all, and I'm forced into situations to keep him happy. But we're not talking about the sex trafficking victim, the trauma, what their brain is like, the trauma bonding. Nobody wants to talk about trauma bonding. It is a real thing. You could be getting beaten up. It happens with domestic violence as well. Remember, domestic violence and human trafficking intersect, right? They go hand in hand pretty much all the time. And how this trauma bonding, you will do anything to please that partner. You think you're in love and you think you'll change them. Anything, any heinous crime, anything. So I'm Dirty Diddy, a sex trafficker. So I am hoping the judge, I was very happy when he did not grant him any kind of bail. And I am hoping that this plea today they had, let him out and, he'll wear the monitor. I think the judge will stick to keeping him in the jail until his October 3rd hearing. So we hope for that. But what I want to say about this, and also about the Ghislaine Maxwell, it seems to be dominating the headlines. It's all everybody's talking about. I'm here talking about it because I have different thoughts on this than everybody. In all of this, I don't hear anybody talking about the victims and survivors of one Sean Combs or of one Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me remind you about Ghislaine. Now, okay, 20 years, conspiracy, sex trafficking. The thing is, remember, our government said a couple of weeks ago, nothing to see here, case closed, Jeffrey Epstein's dead, and there's no list, no file, no anything. Well, first of all, let's think about this, warriors. Any kind of damning evidence, don't you think it's long gone by now? Long hidden away? Swimming with the fishes, whatever the saying is, gone, or it's in somebody's vault, right? What's going to come out now? Files, client lists, and a reminder, to be on a list, to be in a book, perhaps, of good wishes, to be in a picture does not make you guilty of anything. A reminder that plenty of people jump into photos with a celebrity, an influencer. They don't even know who they are. And the influencer celebrity, they'll take the picture. That doesn't mean anything, right? Plenty of Broadway shows. I was at the stage doors, and strangers will just jump in when somebody comes out the stage door, one of the actors, actresses. So a picture doesn't mean anything. Even being on a flight log, that doesn't mean anything. And I'm in no way defending Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell. Just hear me out. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But where's the proof? Where's the video evidence? Where is all of the, discussion, which I originally heard, and I never really heard it again, about Paris. I heard it in the very beginning, that those were underage girls, but I'm saying I heard it. So where's the proof, right? Because this hearsay, this hearing, it doesn't hold up in a court of law. But that kind of went away, and that Jacques Brunel, I think his name is, supposedly committed suicide in prison, so he's gone. So what do we have here? Now we have Ghislaine all of a sudden, as of today, saying that she'll plead the fifth if she doesn't get her deal. They didn't specifically lay out the deal, but we all know she wants a complete pardon of some sort so she can fly off and live happily ever after with those in the south of France, somewhere like that. I actually was convinced she wasn't even, just me, I have no proof of this, she wasn't even in a jail because we never saw photos of her. Remember Martha Stewart? She was running around the prison yard, or we'd get, sometimes some of the jailmates would be let out and they'd talk about Martha Stewart. And I remember just even a couple of weeks ago, I would say, we never see any pictures of Ghislaine. Nothing. And all of a sudden, they started popping up. I want to say maybe a week ago. Grainy, but they're popping up. Who's taking those pictures? Even from afar, okay? So all of a sudden, she is, as of today, saying, well, she wants her deal. She wants to work with Congress. I'm paraphrasing here. She wants to work with Congress, but it has to work for her. So we know what that means, a full pardon. And no commuting of sentences. But here's what I say about that. Let me remind you about this. We have over 1,000 women documented that were involved. If we have 1,000, I dare say there could be 5,000 because many women and girls do not come forward. They're embarrassed. They want to put it behind them. This could have been in the 90s, early 2000s. Now perhaps they're in their 40s, 50, they're married, they have kids. They're not going to dredge this up. We know with victims and survivors, most of them bury it. But I'm here to tell you, because we at the Warriors work with victims and survivors. It is a lifelong trauma. Let's get back to the Diddy case, the Ghislaine. I'm going to put them together. We're not talking enough about these victims and survivors. If we could have utilized, which I continually tried to do with the media or on our Warriors channel, talking about that victim, that survivor, and what is needed, because in society, and I'm talking about America right now, we do not have enough services for trauma. We do not have safe spaces for women that are trafficked. And there are some men and boys too. We do not have what we call wraparound services. It is a true multi-services kind of forever. It's not like you get saved and you're all better and you can go on with your life. I have dealt with women older than I am who have come forward, and what happened to them as a child or a teen or a young woman comes out 40, 50 years later, 60 years later. So until we talk about trauma bonding and understand in 2025, people have to understand, including the justice system needs reform, what sex trafficking actually is. I'm going to go back and say, Dirty Diddy Sean Combs is a sex trafficker, is a pimp. That's what he is. And the fact, this is what it is with him. I mean, shame on everybody. Okay. Now let's fast forward to Ghislaine. This is the case, this Epstein-Ghislaine case. We're never, I think you know this, we're never getting to the bottom of it. It's been years now. So many complicit. I like to say top down. I'm going to leave it at that. But what a mess. But again, in all of this discussion, which has been pretty heavy, I would want to say the last maybe 7 to 10 days, the thing I'm not hearing about, victims, survivors. If we could have taken, which is I started telling you before, but I digressed a little bit, both of these horrible headlines, and we could have used this as a learning tool for the public, right? To learn about what is sex trafficking, what is trauma, what is trauma bonding. Because today, I am seeing in the last year, specifically the last 6 months with the work we do at the Warriors, this sexual exploitation, and I'm talking about just in America, we all know it is a global crisis. It is a national crisis here in America. Sound the alarm, which I say every single day. the last 6 months especially, going into this AI, it is a nightmare. Let's be real. Are we going to stop sex trafficking, labor trafficking? No, we're not. I will never lie to you. I will never do anything for clicks and likes. Edie's here. I think Edie knows that about me. Um, but what I have to say is, so what are we going to do? So as I sat in Washington last week, taking in many different things, um, it occurred to me, we are not stopping it. We're not ending it. It's the biggest moneymaker. Law enforcement tells me it rivals the drug trade. It's right there. Easier to abuse people. Easier, right online, right in your child's bedroom, right on their device. Don't even have to go anywhere anymore. Everybody's there. The world is there online. And that is why the digital safety, the importance, and of talking to your kids, right? Because none of this is going away. Everybody's got phones and laptops. I can't stress enough. You got to talk to your kids. I mean, you bought these devices, I'm sure, parents, guardians, family members. So if you buy them, you have to have some guardrails. You have to have the conversation. And you got to keep an eye. I don't care how hard it is. I know everybody's overwhelmed and tired. And I mean, I even started when I went live with talking about I am very disturbed about this shooting yesterday in New York. I'm still disturbed about Luigi Mangione down the block shooting a man in the back. I'm still disturbed that we have to fight so hard to protect our children in America that I have to sit in Washington, sit and listen and listen. Now, the flip side is we are doing some terrific groundbreaking work. The other side of it is, I participate in, or at least listen to, go. I want to see what the, landscape is with other groups, organizations, and hear what people have to say, these so-called experts, right? Get with the program, people. That's what I'd like to say. What is taking so long? We have people, we have groups, we have organizations that do very good work. They know what to do to intervene and prevent. It is the prevention part of the sex trafficking and labor trafficking that needs to be dealt with and can be dealt with right away. And that's the piece. I like to say what we do at the Warriors and what I am working on accomplishing in Washington right now is, yeah. We know it's all bad, horrible, protect our children. I'm not dismissing that. We know it. I don't want to talk about that almost. I want to talk about plugging in the holes. How do we prevent? How do we teach the kids? How do we help the parents and family members? How do we get legislation passed to hold big tech accountable? Because right now, and I actually said this the other day in Washington, as I listen to the experts and those that have been working, in different government, I'm going to say, I guess their hearts are in the right places, but we're getting worse. We're not getting better. So really, what have they accomplished? And to their credit, I will say the last administration did nothing. So hands were tied, doors were not open, funds were not spent. So cannot hold anybody responsible for that. But to see people again just sit and say it's bad and we have to end it, that's not good enough. We got to plug in those holes. We got to get busy. We've got the people to do it. Now we need them to be financed. And I'm talking about there are a lot of good groups, small organizations that really are boots on the ground and work hard. You might not ever hear their names. They're in their community. And we at the Warriors are very based. I really believe, I'll go to Washington. I'll go to Albany, our state capital here in New York. I'll do all of that for legislation. I don't expect you to do that. It's in the community. It's in your home. It's in your church or synagogue. It's in that community center. It's at your daughter's dance school. Your son's, I don't know, little league team or something where the discussions have to be had. Wherever the kids are, so are the predators. So wherever the kids are, we need to get these discussions going about safety and how to, I'm going to say, vaccinate. I'll use that word because I want to use it for good. Inoculate the kids against all of this predation. Because now I'm getting story after story. I just posted a story. Dad of 4, stranger pulls into a 12-year-old's front yard and says, "Is your mother home?" And she says, "No." And he pulls her into the car and proceeds to attack her. So they're going in real time now, the predators. You see, there's been very little accountability. So they're feeling very powerful, emboldened to just grab kids off the street. There are a lot of stories that I never see in the media at all. Kids at a Walmart, kids at a there was just one the other day at Target, and this brave woman, um, there was a teenage girl with a younger girl. She thought they're probably sisters, and they were in the toy aisle of Target. And whether this story is true or not, I believe it to be true. Again, I don't have proof. I'm gonna just tell you what this is about because I want you to look for things like this. Um, she saw this man all alone. He did not have a little cart, a little Target basket. He had nothing. And he was kind of peering around the aisle, down the toy aisle. And he wasn't holding any products or anything. Usually you go to Target, you're walking around, you're holding, you have a basket, you're putting stuff in a cart, whatever you're doing. You're not peering around a corner down at the children's toy aisle. So she just thought, this woman, as she walked by, well, this is strange. He's really leering. It was a young teen girl with what turned out to be, she said, a 6-year-old. They did turn out to be sisters. And she said, this is very strange. And so she kind of kept an eye on it and pretended, she's looking at toys and things like that. And then all of a sudden, she just thought the guy she looked, his hand had a walkie-talkie in it. She thought, that's strange. Well, maybe he's security or something, but she didn't think so. Long story short, she very calmly, eventually, because this was going on and on, as the young teen, as she described it, with her little sister, was looking at dolls and things like that. She went up to the teen and she said, where is your mother? Who are you here with? That's what she said. And she looked kind of shocked, the woman said, and she said, well, we're here with our mom. And she went into the ladies' room. And the woman said, like, you don't know me, but take my hand, and the three of us are going to walk to the customer service aisle. And they did. And she quietly said, please page the mother, who came out of the ladies' room, explained, and the man was still lurking down another aisle, okay? When this brave woman who saw all of this, she then saw another man with the same kind of walkie-talkie, and she said to the customer service representative, she said, do you have security here? And the woman said, no, we don't have any security. We have kind of damage control, but like we don't have security guards or anything like that. So these two different men had the same kind of walkie-talkies. And they just got out of the store. She asked that some male employees walk them to their cars. This is during daylight, not nighttime. And when she got to the mother, really, she said the blood drained out of her face and she was, pale, and kids get in the car. There was actually, she said, a van parked next to the car. And she saw the first man who was lurking down the toy aisle, staring, sitting behind the steering wheel. And she said it was the most evil smile she ever saw. And he smiled at her because she went to their car with the male employees first to say, you're okay, and blah, 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 before she went to her car. And then the guy just pulled out, and the mother said, that van was parked here with this man in it when we pulled in. That was parked next to us. And then the van pulled up to the front door of Target, and the other guy with the walkie-talkie got in. Now, the male employees said they don't work here. We don't know who these men are. I mean, that is obviously a trafficking situation. Because remember, a couple of weeks ago, I went into my bank to get some cash out of the cash machine in the vestibule, and there was a young woman as a security guard. And I witnessed myself what I believe to be a trafficking situation, where this very well-dressed woman came in. And as I have my back to her, at the machine, a complete stranger to the security guard, I later learned. She might have been like 22, the security guard. Could have been 20. I don't know. And the woman's like, hey, why do you want to stand here all day and watch these people? And I can get you a job. You can make a lot more money. I mean, has anybody here gotten those DMs that say, oh, you can work and make $200 to $800 a day and work, 40 minutes a day? I mean, I have all kinds of security features, and I get those on a daily basis. So you can just imagine some young woman, teenage girl seeing that could potentially answer that and get involved so easily. I'm pointing out, and to get back to the security guard in the bank, I spoke to her afterwards. And I was pretending to fix my purse and looking at my phone, anything to stay in this little vestibule, because this woman was very persistent. And that's what they are, these exploiters. Okay. She kept saying to this young woman, here's the address. I want you to come to my office. And the young woman said, well, I work on Monday. I can't. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Bring some friends with you. Bring a friend with you. You're going to come, right? And she kept it up and kept it up. What's your phone number? I want your phone. Where do you live? I want your phone number. This young woman actually gave her phone number because I spoke to her later. I said, listen, you don't know me. I've seen you in the bank here before when I've been in. Here's my card. Was that your real phone number you gave her? She said, yes. I said, why would you do that to a stranger? She said, because she made me nervous. I'm on my job. I didn't want to make a scene, get in trouble. I'm going to block her. I said, okay, but you gave away personal information. See, young people and a lot of people just give everything away, even online, right? Where they live, how they're feeling, where they go to school, where they go to church, or everybody's revealing. We have to become and teach our children. Again, this is part of the inoculation, more private. That's what we have to do. But getting back to Washington. So the point of those stories, be on the lookout. We all need, I'm very convinced in 2025, we all have to be warriors. We all have to be on the lookout. If you see something, say something. You're in a store, go up to customer service. You see kids alone like this woman witnessed. Keep an eye on them. Just like I saw this young woman security guard. And the woman was so insistent. And that's how I know. And it took all my strength not to say to her something like, get lost. What are you doing? I know what you're up to. I'm going to call the police. Because guess what? The police, they're not going to do anything because I don't have any proof of anything. Nothing happened other than conversation, right? But at least I warned this young woman. The part I don't like is this was a couple of weeks ago, and as I passed that bank fairly often in the last 2 weeks, I have not seen her at her job. It is somebody else, always a man now, being a security guard. And that can happen to males, everybody knows, right, as well. Thank you, Susanna. I'm telling you this because I want all of us to be on the lookout. It's like we all have to. We just live in a different world, and we have to protect our kids or protect other people. If you see something in your community, do something. I'm not saying, get in a fight and like I did, keep an eye on it and then talk to that person or call. I always say call 911 to report something. Better to be safe than sorry. It just takes all of us. I can't stress this enough with what's going on. So as I sat in Washington, let me get back to that. It occurred to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and we have to save the children. Okay, we have to educate the children. We have to protect them. But until we do, and the parents and the family members, and we have to engage everybody, we have to do a little more than just save the kids, because we got to go deeper than that. It occurred to me, and I said to somebody afterwards, we can't accomplish any of this unless we really attack two things. Number one, big tech is ruling the roost and creating a lot of horrific trafficking situations. They've made it very easy for the traffickers, right? And people are all day long sitting behind their computers and they're sextorting kids, and they have warehouses in Nigeria. They actually have human trafficking, some of them victims chained to tables and chairs that are forced on the computer to do these scams. Everybody's heard about the scams, right? Going on. Scams are, oh, well, my AARP the other day that came. Yes, I read that. Takes about 2 minutes. It's very thin, the magazine edition. But sometimes I get some good ideas. Like I read about the scams, gave me some information, facts. I did a little digging deeper, got some information, want to keep on top of things to share with everybody. 43 billion last year just in America. And that was in these financial scams. The Brooklyn DA's office reported to me fairly recently, they have a whole division that is dedicated to this pig butchering. Does everybody know what that is? Pig butchering? I know we have a little bit of a lag here, but does anybody know what that is? It's an ugly name, but that's what they call it. And as they were describing it to me, they're like, And we apologize for the name, but that's what it's called, the pig butchering unit. I'm like, okay. Pig butchering. Apparently, it's a phrase that butchers use. They take their time and fatten up the pig before they slaughter it. I am sorry to be so crass, but this is how they're explaining it to me. So these predators will take their time, and they're very patient sometimes, a lot of times, and they'll fatten up their victim. They'll sweet talk them. I'm talking about elderly, all people now, and kids. It all goes together. Um, Let me try this because Lori, thank you very much, Lori. Thanks for your attention to our kids. I'm listening. By the way, you look amazing today. Thank you, Lori, for saying that. Makes me feel good, but let me stay focused on the kids so I don't get sidetracked. But it is 100 degrees here, so I wear a hat when I go outside. I just can't take the sun. But let me not digress there for a minute. But thank you, Lori. Pig butchering. They will fatten up their victim, sweet talk them, promise them things, and then they'll move in for the kill. Now, we used to say this happens within 72 hours. Then it became 48 hours. Now we're having people scammed, the last count, 17 hours, with a stranger. People are sending money, goods, gift cards. Everybody's got to be aware. The internet equals scams. I mean, it's wonderful. We're talking right